This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask-A-Griffin podcast, episode number 59. We continue in our agent plan with the question is, what is your offer? Are you a home seller or a home buyer who has questions about buying or selling residential property, but you can't find an easy way to get your answers? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, or you want to become a real estate agent, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. That's Griffin courses.com. All right, let's get started here. As we continue, the question on the table is, what is your offer? And this falls in our agent plan in the section under marketing. So what is that offer that you are making to the selling and buying public? Because when you have your plan in place, you need to be making an offer. And the more sequentially you make those offers along the way as somebody moves further in the process, and the more clearly articulated they are, the better you'll do in attracting new business and converting that business. So let's start off with the first point here, that your message will be unique because it's yours. Now, why would I say it like that? A lot of agents, when they first start in this business, their first question is, well, how am I going to be unique? There are so many real estate agents and everybody's saying the same thing. Well, that's not true. It's not true. In fact, over 21 plus years of doing this, 16 plus of coaching people, I've come to the realization that that's not even close to true, in fact. And so many people are making these assumptions rather than going to the basics of business and putting a viable plan in place that nothing's happening. Or worse, people are defaulting towards just hoping that business will come to them somehow magically, or that they wait for a friend or a family member to have something to happen, and nobody is proactive in the creation of a message that's unique because they don't believe it's possible. Well, it is. And the reason, even if we were saying the same things, all of us, which isn't true, like I said, it would still be the way that I say it versus the way that you say it. And that's not just about tone or gender or any of these other variables that could be affecting the way it sounds to somebody. It's its authenticity. See, it's as if there's some magic one-liner. And I've seen this go awry in the real estate coaching business, where people think that a unique selling proposition is supposed to be some bizarre term. Or some word that's out there that somehow triggers people to magically do business. And I don't believe that that's what unique means. First of all, you need something that's universally appealing to sellers in your geography, universally appealing to buyers in your geography. That's what you need. You need those things that are unique. So, and universal. So it's really about being a good observer of how the business really works for sellers, how the business really works for buyers, understanding that. And again, a lot of top producers even think they understand how the business works. Michael Gerber wrote a great book called the EMyth that he said, just because you know how to sell something doesn't mean you know how the entirety of the business really works. And so do we ever really take any time to think about the entirety of A through Z process that a seller goes through from their perspective? Not our perspective as real estate agents, because that unique lens allows us to create a message that matters to the consumer. Now, most agents that are aggressive and are in some sort of a way educated about the possibility of a marketing message that magnetically attracts or captures all of the words that are used in our industry, they get to the point where they're really sort of muscling that. Think about telemarketing, an outbound call, where somebody's very aggressive with their scripting. And they say things like, well, when are you going to hire the right person to sell your house? And that's actually a technique that's used. Well, that's a pretty poor marketing technique, but sometimes it works because people will allow themselves to be bullied, and they'll list their house with somebody that bullies them into thinking that way. It's ugly. And the other way is the bait and switch. And there's a promise that I'm going to give you all this stuff. And then once the business is secured, there's a switch away from that to something much lesser, or worse, really nothing at all. So there are all these challenges that we see in the world of marketing. It's not just our industry. Go on to Google, go on to Facebook. There are marketing messages ad nauseum, right? They're all over the place. So I think that is the thing that we have to put on the table here is that you can be unique. But the third point here is the most important one. If you will simply, this is the how, by the way, the how to get away from all the ugly stuff and be unique. And that is just to simply base your marketing message on your values, your true personal values, and the service that you really want to offer buyers and sellers. And that will allow them to get to know you first. You don't rush through that phase. So your messaging has to allow them to get to know you first. And then if they like what they hear, by default, they will like you to a certain extent for being the one that's delivering service and information, especially for free upfront. And ultimately, that's what gets them to trust you as a client by giving you their listing or allowing you to sell them a house. So I think a lot of people think that sounds squishy and soft. And look, I'm aggressive. I always have been aggressive in my business. The way that I run it, the way that I promote it, I've been aggressive. But my heart and why I'm in this business is clearly to be of service to people, to leave them better than I found them. Sellers, buyers, agents, people that work at the company, whatever it might be, is to leave them better. That's a value system for me. My core value is to be of service in this lifetime to as many people as possible. So you see, as I say that's very important to me. So that's an easy segue for me into service and why I like this business. I get to serve people during the single largest financial and emotional transaction that most of them will ever make in a lifetime. Right? So that's, to me, wonderful. So how do you translate that into the specifics of a marketing message that's unique? Well, what we did, and we say it openly in this podcast on a regular basis, that we have a seller course, a buyer course, and an agent course waiting for anybody at griffincourses.com, where when they opt in, they're going to get digital access to any of those courses for free. So what I'm giving away and what my messaging is I'm willing to give away the company's best what to do information if you're a seller, buyer, or agent for free. That's a powerful service value-based message, and it's authentic, and it's 100% true. Now, if I give that to you and you accept it, you get to know us, and you get to know the information in the organized way that we put it together. It's nothing more than the universal steps a seller, buyer, or agent would go through in their process. But it's organized, it's coordinated, and it's bound and digitally versioned too, and you can get it. And that's our marketing message, and that's where we start. And in turn, hopefully that law of reciprocity gets you to at least like and appreciate that we took the time to do that. Now, if that seller, buyer, or agent has context, meaning they have an interest in selling, buying, or becoming an agent, then they lean in a little bit more because they know us now. And as we give continued updates and information, or even a phone call and a consultation for free, they begin to like us. Then that allows us to give them more pertinent information until they're ready to even interview us or meet us in the field to see if they trust us enough to give us their business. That's how it works. So it's not rocket science. So let me go back through these things, okay? So the question on the table falls in our agent plan in this series, and it falls under the category of marketing. And the question is, what is your offer? And I'll qualify it by saying your marketing offer. So the first point was and is your message will be unique, no matter what you think to the contrary, because it's you saying it. So even if it's the same as somebody else, it's still unique because it's heard differently coming from you than anybody else. 2, most agents simply end up defaulting, and the aggressive ones default to working on muscle. They're very aggressive in what they say, and they muscle and almost bully their way into a lot of their business. Or worse, they bait and switch people. They make a promise that they know they can't fulfill, get the business tied up, only to say, oh, well, it doesn't really work that way. That's called the old bait and switch, and that's the ugliest form of marketing that there is. Third, you want to, in turn, to get your messaging right as an agent, base that message on your true values. Where's your heart at? Don't get all caught up in, some weird exercise on values. Just what's your value? What's your personal value? And then that value has to serve you in the service business. And you have to authentically believe that being that honest, forthright person of integrity. That's why a lot of people say that to me, but then their marketing message is a little bit ugly. Well, wait a minute. If you are this person of integrity, just believe in a message that matches that. That's the key point here, right? Because then they're going to like you a little bit more as you give more and more and more. And that's putting up the guardrails against the competition, because most people won't give like that. That's that service. And that leads to trust, where they will reward you with their business, okay? Let me summarize it with this statement. When creating your marketing message, you must believe that you can and will be unique. When you realize that most aggressive marketers are too pushy and often use bait and switch techniques, you'll realize very quickly that by simply being honest and striving to truly serve sellers and buyers, you'll be able to create a highly effective marketing message that will help buyers and sellers get to know you until they like you and ultimately trust you with their business. All right. Remember, like I said, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you need to sell or buy property, or perhaps you want to become an agent right now or in the near future, by getting any of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen, or find us on any of our social media channels so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload an episode. We'd also appreciate it if you would comment and share our content with anyone thinking about selling or buying property so that they get the help that they need to be successful. Remember, like I say when I always sign off on any of my podcasts, nobody's coming for you. So please take action to get to work on a plan for buying, selling, or becoming an agent, and we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again.